Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 83 of the Simple One Podcast. I'm your host, Colin. I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends. We're passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we've got the show for you.
That's right.
We made a whoopsie.
Oopsie.
Poopsie. And so,
Whoopsie day.
whoopsie daisy. So we were recording this in the morn.
The brink morn.
Yeah, the early hours of the morn to make sure that we can get this out. Make sure we can get this out today. So we're gonna just keep it loosey goosey. We're probably not gonna edit this thing. We're just gonna run with it and probably keep it brisk. See how it comes out. Today we're going to talk about The Creator.
Yes.
Which is the new Gareth Edwards directed sci-fi film with John David Washington. Mm-hmm. I feel bad because I always feel the need to go son of Denzel Washington. Don't know why that's a little factoid that I just have to include with his name, but it is.
He's his own person.
I know. Until you hear him speak.
Yeah.
There's a few lines in this movie where I was like, fuck, that is Denzel's son. Like, that is, he's got his dad's voice.
Yeah.
But no, it's from Gareth Edwards.
Where are they from? Are they from New York?
I don't know.
Because they have like a very distinct accent.
A distinct voice
Yeah.
in general. I'm not sure. I would imagine that David Washington's probably been raised in California.
Probably.
Assuming they live in...
Denzel Washington really pronounces his E's.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he just has a distinct way of speaking. But before we get into our thoughts on The Creator, I want to talk a little bit about the Last of Us multiplayer game. Some potential fallout from the WGA and the SAG strikes. And I do want to actually I've got details. I was able to, on the WGA's website, they now have here's the summary of the deal. And then just a neat little, I thought it was interesting, I don't know if neat's the word, marketing tactic for the movie Mean Girls. The 2003 movie Mean Girls. So what do you want to start with?
Start with The Last of Us.
Well, it's not good news.
Oh.
It is reportedly on ice, which means we're just going to shelve that.
They're freezing it.
So this is kind of a somewhat of a follow-up or a continuation of a story that we talked about a few months ago, I think, where because Sony had purchased Bungie, who is most famous, I think, for Halo, and then now more, the modern Bungie is famous for Destiny. And so it's a games as a service multiplayer that's been pretty successful. So Sony went, hey, we've been having a lot of issues with The Last of Us multiplayer. We just don't know if it's coming together. Can you go, basically audit it and give a little bit of guidance? And Bungie basically came back and was like, I just don't know if it's viable or not. They're going to have to do some tweaking, And that was when there was the whole thing of, it being delayed, and Naughty Dog made an official statement of, yeah, we're just taking our time with it. We know that it needs more time, and we want to make it work. Well, now, 25 contractors who are in the quality assurance department. So basically, their job is to game test it and go, yeah, this is coming along nicely.
Game.
Yeah. Or, I wish it had this, I wish it had that. They were laid off early on their contract. They're going to work through October and then go home. So when they start laying off quality assurance, that means they're not planning on having anything for them to do.
Right.
According to this is coming from Kotaku. Full-time staff are not affected, according to the Kotaku report. So, Naughty Dog will reportedly not offer severance to the laid-off staff.
Damn.
Which I wonder. I don't know if that's standard or not with a contracted worker. You know what I mean? It's not like they were full-time staff.
Cold ass haunches.
So I don't know if that's standard or not.
Still.
According to Kotaku here, the Naughty Dog staff, quote, are being pressured to keep the news quiet. This is also, I'm getting some detail here from IGN, and they say that they reached out to Sony for comment and didn't get anything back. According to the Kotaku article, it is basically on ice.
Dang.
Although it's not completely canceled. So
that fucking sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, it's that thing.
You and I really like the multiplayer too.
Yeah, and so that's the part that confuses me. Is it sounds like they weren't doing that. You know what I mean? They were like, okay, how can we take the game The Last of Us and turned it into a games as a service multiplayer game.
Do you think they're trying to make like customizable characters?
I'm sure there's that in it too, but I don't think that's the part that's got them.
Just make it an updated version of factions. I'm totally fucking cool with
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
I'm
I
totally
think
fucking cool with that.
it probably should have been an update to The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was a Sony thing going, you know what we don't have in-house is a games as a service game. Let's do that. Or maybe Naughty Dog went, I think we could do that, and started making it. And Sony liked the idea because money, And then it just didn't pan together because Naughty Dog is a single player, like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Single player, narrative driven adventures.
Which I like.
And so for them to venture into a multiplayer game, they were trying to, from what they'd said prior, back when all that came out about Bungie, was that they wanted to bring their narrative driven stories and stuff into the world of multiplayer. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if they weren't able to pull that off in a way that Bungie thought was useful. And everybody's kind of throwing some shade at Bungie, but I don't think Bungie was there to be like, this game sucks.
No, I bet they're pretty disappointed too.
Yeah, I think they were there to go, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And playing this and seeing what you got, I just don't think people are going to come back to this. Was the whole issue. It just doesn't feel like a thing that people are going to sit down and they're going to play it for the week that it comes out and then forget about it.
No, I'm mad at Naughty Dog for just going, all right, well, shelve it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Naughty Dog's the one making the decision. I think it's Sony.
Really?
Yeah, if it's on ice, I bet that's Sony going. From the reports that we were reading, the budget blew way out on it, and it's not anywhere close to release. And Sony's probably going, you guys need to fucking focus up. Like, this is a waste of money right now.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. That makes me mad.
Yeah. So we may never see it, but it's not fully canceled, so there's still some hope. Now, maybe they end up putting together a team through Bungie and going, okay, let's get a team together. This is what they do is making a multiplayer game that's compelling to play. And partner you up with...
Destiny's not that good.
I mean, there's a player base that disagrees with you.
Yeah, but...
You also don't like Baldur's Gate because of the camera angle, so...
What are you going to do? What are you going to fucking do?
I'm thinking,
Sue me.
I could.
Huh?
I could sue you.
For what?
Whatever I want. It's a free
That's
country.
true.
It can be as, what's the frivolous as I want. I'll sue you for fucking spitting gum in my trash, dude. Yeah, fuck you. That's my trash. What do you want to talk about next? Mean Girls?
Yeah.
And Netflix or the strike?
Mean Girls and Netflix.
All right, so Paramount has released, because today is the, today, yesterday, when I wrote this, it was today, on the 23rd, on the 3rd, it is the 20th anniversary of Mean Girls, and so they released the full film for free on TikTok in 23 parts.
Oh my God.
Which I just thought, how strange, but how modern. And I'm like, people watch full movies in parts on TikTok anyways.
That's my ass.
Yeah. And so for like the official Paramount page, just go, fuck it, just cut it into 23 parts and post it.
How long is each part? Like what?
I don't know. Let's see.
Let's do quick math here. Hold on.
Quick muffs. So it's an hour and 37 minutes divided by, so you've got 97 minutes divided by 23. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at like 4 minutes each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4.2. Just under 5.
That was quick muffs.
Quick muffs. She said, babe, men's not hot.
So yeah, I just thought that's a Gen Z tactic right there. That's pretty smart.
That's smart.
Because then you've got people, you figure it is a 20-year-old movie. It's it's a millennial movie.
Yeah.
And so, okay, how do we get this back in,
rotation?
Yeah. The millennials will be like, oh, yeah, all these little kids are like finding this for the first time, and, all these kids are watching it on TikTok and going, yeah, this is funny.
Yeah.
And it's low stakes, Yeah.
It's
a TikTok video.
And it's just a movie from
20 years ago.
Yeah,
They're not losing out on revenue.
No.
If anything, it might help them, or people are like, I want to watch this on the big screen or whatever, not my phone. So I just thought that was pretty unique.
That is cool. Like, genuinely, I think that's cool.
Sorry, I was trying not to burp. We're not editing this thing. So I was like, I can't just Netflix is reportedly, this is according to the Wall Street Journal. No. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that they're planning to raise their prices
again.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, after the SAG strike is over, So once the actors get back to work,
God.
we don't know how much and when, but that's the talk around the office.
I'll fucking quit.
Oh yeah, cancel that shit hard. I mean, I don't know the last thing I've watched on there.
I think I use Max the most.
Yeah, I use Max. I don't even use Disney Plus.
I use Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't opened Disney Plus in a while either.
I've been catching up. I've been watching Ahsoka. I'll occasionally throw on like a Star Wars, like one of the originals.
Sure.
Like, and I like having that around.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I know there's something else. Oh, I always watch the National Geographic stuff when I'm going to bed.
Sure.
No.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, I'm down to a point of like, we gotta start fucking trimming the tree here, dude. Just get down to HBO and Hulu. I've been watching Hulu.
Well, there's a thing going on because didn't Disney Plus buy Hulu or Disney bought Hulu?
So Disney owns a majority of Hulu.
Yeah, there's a bundle
When they
thing.
bought out Fox, they got a majority stake in Hulu.
So I mean, there's a big bundle thing for Disney Plus and Hulu too.
Yeah. So it's just like, I'm fucking like their prices are already nearly $20.
Yeah.
So are they going to above $20? Fuck that noise, dude. But you figure when they started doing the password crackdown, it did what they wanted it to do. It worked for them. They saw an increase in subscribers.
But I think who's going to want to pay? That's the thing, is nobody's going to want to pay.
No, nobody's going to want to pay, but then they just rely on the people that like get mad but aren't mad enough to go through the process of canceling. You know what I mean? And that's a large number of people.
Until they get hit with that bill.
Mm-hmm. It's a large number of people that go, man, that sucks. I'll cancel that. And then they just forget about it. And then,
No, we should cancel ours.
yeah, I agree. But I just thought, well, fuck, that's not good. So, and I wonder if it works for them. I mean, Disney's already talking about cracking down on password sharing because it worked for Netflix. So,
This country's going to fucking shit, dude.
you know, those companies exist outside this country, right?
And now
It all takes place in the United States.
it's here.
It's very Amerocentric of you. Now, here's the part that I know you were interested in last week, and I didn't have deets for you, but now I got deets. Specifically in regards to AI for the Writers Guild. New agreement here.
There you go. Yeah, the AI is going to be in use.
Well, so yes, but no. So the verbiage on artificial intelligence, they say, this is straight from the WGA contract 2023.org. They say, we have established regulations for the use of artificial intelligence, referred to here as AI, on MBA-covered projects in the following ways. AI can't write or rewrite literary material, and AI-generated material will not be considered source material under the MBA, meaning that AI-generated material cannot be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights. A writer can choose to use AI when performing writing services if the company consents and provided that the writer follows applicable company policies, but the company can't require the writer to use AI software, for example, ChatGPT, when performing writing services. The company must disclose to the writer if any materials given to the writer have been generated by AI or incorporate AI-generated material, and the WGA reserves the right to assert that exploitation of writer's material to train AI is prohibited by the MBA or other law. So anything that a writer writes can't be used to train the AI. The writers have the right to use it if they want to, and AI can never be used as the source material on a project.
I like that. That seems fair.
Yeah. And yeah, they have to disclose, hey, we typed into ChatGPT, give us a sci-fi script that's never been seen before, you know, and it gave us this, and we kind of like the idea. What do you think of this? Can you get something out of that?
Yeah.
It was generated by AI, and then the writer can read it and go, sure, I'll do that, or I'm not comfortable doing that. And, you know, and I think that's a fair, use it as a tool, not as a replacement.
Yeah.
And I did see,
that's a good way to put it.
and I did see a lot of people online pointing to that and going, honestly, these are good regulations for AI that other industries should pay attention to.
Yes.
And go, that might be the way you regulate AI is like, here's how you and I can agree to use it, but it not be, like I said, it's a tool, not a replacement.
Right.
One of the other things that I thought was noteworthy out of here was improved terms. Where was it at? Improved terms in high budget subscription video on demand. So when they're doing high budget stuff for HBO Max, Netflix, series like that, that was one of their big gripes, was the way that, what do you call that? Residuals through streaming, because residuals used to be based on ABC bought the rights to run reruns. We can do whatever the ratings were. You know, how many people watched Seinfeld this week, and then that's how much the actors from Seinfeld get paid.
Yeah.
Well, with streaming, it doesn't work that way.
No, it does not.
The studio just gets paid a lump sum by Netflix or HBO, and then they have the right to just put it on their streaming service, and then that's basically, you get paid like cents, like less than,
Yeah.
you know, some of the actors on like big shows, we're talking about how their checks from Netflix are like less than $1, you know, and it's like on the top 10 of Netflix.
Woof.
And it's like, that just doesn't work, dude. And so the way they have it worded here, the one that I thought was like, oh, that's a good way to do it. Streaming features. So, or sorry, I'm on the wrong spot here. Viewership-based streaming bonus. So the Guild negotiated a new residual based on viewership made for, they've got it abbreviated to HBS VOD, which is just the high budget subscription video service on demand. For HBS VOD series and films that are viewed by 20% or more of the service's domestic subscribers in the first 90 days of release, or in the first 90 days in any subsequent exhibition year, they get a bonus equal to 50% of the fixed domestic and foreign residual. So basically, they get a bonus if a lot of people watch it. You know, I put out a movie on Netflix, and a lot, you know, what was it? 20% of the subscribers watched it in the first 90 days. Basically, that's like a theatrical release, equivalent, you know, on streaming. And I thought that's a pretty nice way to look at it. Of like, a lot of people watched your movie, I get a bonus, as opposed to getting a chunk of the gross at the box office.
Sure.
You know.
No, yeah, I like that.
And they did the same thing with screenwriter employment up here. Streaming features. When a feature-length project is made for streaming with a budget of $30 million or more, the minimum initial compensation for a story and teleplay is $100,000, an 18% increase from the current rate, and a 26% increase in the residual base. So basically, they're trying to find ways to make, if the industry is moving towards streaming, the writing needs to be adjusted the way they're paid. So that it's not, again, it's not a way to get away with not paying them.
Yeah.
How do we take what we've been doing with movies and television and move it to the digital streaming and make it make sense? And so it sounds like, I can't find the figure on their website, but I remember reading, these are just round numbers that I'm trying to pull from memory. Yeah. The original proposed plan from the WGA when like they first met with the AMPTP was going to cost something like $400 million annually. And then the AMPTP came back with something that was going to cost like $40 million, which obviously that's a massive gap, you know, and this deal cost somewhere in the ballpark of $200 million. So they met in the middle. They did exactly what you're supposed to do, you know. They said, here's our dream. You said, here's your dream. Neither of us got our dream, but we got some of it.
Compromise. Yeah.
And so, you know, I saw, there's a writer, Michael Jamin, that I follow on TikTok, and he said something to the effect of basically like, if negotiations go well, nobody's happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, you know, none of us won, which means we both won, you know? And so, yeah, that's a pretty fair way to look at it. And it sounds like that's what they got.
Well, good.
Which is good because SAG went back to the table this week. I think they went back on Monday, and then they come back today on Wednesday to talk with AMPTP. And since WGA just got a pretty decent deal, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the AMPTP to work with SAG. Yeah. And now it's all out there. We know what you gave to the writers. Where's our deal that looks like that? Yeah. You know? And, I mean, that's kind of common knowledge. That's how it works in a lot of industries. If there's multiple strikes happening.
As soon as one buckles.
You go, okay, well, we know what you're offering. Here's my handout. Go ahead.
Somebody hand me my money.
You know, go ahead and give us a similar deal, and then we'll get back to work. Yeah. You know, and it's like, all right. Because like you and I had talked, writers are only half the deal. Yeah. You know, just because the writers are back, that just buys them a little bit of time. Yeah. Now they can get to work, and so that once they get something figured out with the actors, they can get back to work. But in the meantime, you're still just writing something that's never going to get made. Yeah. So, the pressure's still on, but I think it's a good sign for SAG.
Oh, that's dope.
Dope.
That's very, like, a good way of, like, that's what I didn't know I wanted that.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well. Yeah. Strikes work. Turns out. Start fucking beating on the Communist Manifesto. It's like, whoa. Seize the means of production. Seize the means of production. Oh my God. Storm the warehouses. Kill the bosses. No, don't do that.
No. Unless
That's crazy. It's too crazy. Just fucking Bloody Sunday. It just turns into full on. It's 1917 Russia in the streets. Not good.
yeah, places are on fire.
Yeah, it's not good. But we are going to talk about The Creator.
Yes,
If you're ready.
let's fucking hop in it.
Yeah. So, what's the movie about?
Oh
You got a synopsis?
no,
Give me one. Just give me one off your head. What's the movie about?
it's about a baby. That's AI,
Okay.
and they're trying to save it.
It's about a baby.
It's about a baby AI who can grow.
I feel like that's getting into spoiler territory. We'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk about it.
We'll talk about it there. So,
Come on. Just hang around.
you know me. So let's see here. The Creator has a 68% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh, wow.
and a 77% from the audience score. IMDb has it at a 7.2 out of 10. And Fandango, which I think runs through Metacritic, has it at 77%. So they're all in like the mid 60s, 70s. Which, here's a synopsis for you since you found one. As a future war between the human race and artificial intelligence rages on, ex-Special Forces agent Joshua,
Joshy.
he doesn't have a last name in the movie, so he's just ex-Special Forces agent Joshua, is recruited to hunt down and kill the Creator, the elusive architect of advanced AI. The Creator has developed a mysterious weapon that has the power to end the war and all of mankind. As Joshua and his team of elite operatives venture into enemy-occupied territory, they soon discover the world-ending weapon is actually an AI in the form of a child. So, I'll try and keep it spoiler-free for a bit, but I think the good stuff is definitely in the spoilers as usual.
Yeah. The meat.
The meat and taters. You can fucking eat my meat and taters. What do you think about the plot? Spoiler-free plot thoughts.
The plot was very smooth. I felt like I didn't leave asking any questions. Everything had its purpose, and like everything that they used or foreshadowed came up in an appropriate way.
It felt pretty neat and tidy.
It didn't feel long. Like it didn't
No, it was
feel
paced well.
Yeah, it didn't feel dragged. Everything again just felt like very like that needed that much time.
And I did think it helped. They do a thing in it that I think works pretty well for this movie.
Is
where
they cut it.
They split it into chapters.
Which I thought was cool. I like that.
Yeah. Where they kind of use that as like a transition of like, here's a new chapter, and then you cut out the traveling. You know what I mean? Where it's like they left this place to head to that place.
You don't need
new chapter page, and then they're at the place they were headed to. And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. So I liked that. I'm with you. I think the thing that I think I did wrong was last week we had the story where I kind of brought up that a lot of the early reviews were like,
Gosh.
fuck, this movie is going to be instant classic. You know what I mean? And like that, they said like it does something that you wouldn't expect. I don't think the movie ever surprised me in that way.
Nah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it kind of went unlike the bare bones plot wise. I think it went exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
From the trailers. So I was a little like waiting on, okay, what's the wow, really? And I don't think I ever had that. Which isn't necessarily a gripe, but it's just I think
It's a notable thing.
Yeah, I set up an expectation through what I read that then wasn't met. But I agree with you. I think it was pretty well executed, smooth, brisk.
Yeah.
Because it was about a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, I forgot it was that long.
and it didn't feel that long.
No.
And when we got out of there was a little bit of
It was a bit, I mean, it's a long story.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. I mean, you get to a point where you're like, I mean, they've still got stuff to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a chapter, the whole last bit, I think, is a little bit surprising, I guess, in that where you think it's going to end,
It doesn't.
it doesn't. And then there's a next thing, which it was fine. Well, I guess that was a little bit surprising of like, oh, okay, this isn't the end. There's more. But what'd you think about the characters and chemistry?
Well, I thought the characters and chemistry, I'm blanking. Joshua and Alfie.
Yeah, is the
Very good
Yeah.
chemistry as far as like, there's a scene where they're running and they're getting in a car, right? And Joshua's like, get in the car. Get the fucking car.
Yeah, like get in the car. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Why aren't you excited to get in the car? And
This is fun. And he's trying to like make it look fun.
Yeah, but obviously,
But he's very angry and freaking out because we're gonna get shot.
Yeah. And that felt like a really real thing. Like
Yeah.
it just felt good. And like,
Yeah, because there is that awkward thing of like, he's an adult man who feels some type of way about AI, and this is a child apparently, but it's still just a thing to him. You know what I mean? It's just a machine, and so he doesn't really know how to interact with it. Like he's trying to talk to it like a child, but also it's just a machine,
Right.
You know, and so he's like, "Come on, this is real fun." And I did like that dynamic in general of like, I will say the world building I felt was really good.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the shiniest part of this was it
It's
takes
a
place in
pretty
2065. Well, I guess it doesn't take place in 2065. It takes place in 2070 for the most part.
Yeah.
But you know, it's about 40 years in the future, 40 to 45 years in the future, and it feels like a pretty natural.
Yeah.
You know, you and I were talking about it. Nothing in it felt like a huge stretch. You know, there's some stuff where you go, I don't know if we'd be there or in that
But then
direction.
we got to talking about it, and which we'll talk about in spoilers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Excuse me. I liked the way they opened it with like AI, the start of the future, you know, and it was basically like the world of tomorrow today, you know.
I love that. I eat
Showing
that
off,
shit up all the time.
Yeah, showing off like, hey, here's, which that was the thing that I don't know. How long did we have the AI before it happened? You know what I mean? Because for it to have taken place in 2065 and for the war to have started in 2055 makes me feel like we wouldn't have had them since the 1950s, like in the way that the footage was, but the footage was black and white footage. You know, did we coexist for 100 years and then that happened? I don't know. It's not necessary, but I was a little blurry on like how new was AI when it happened. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because like I said, the way that it opened felt very
Movie
1950s, 1960s. Yeah, turns out this is garbage. No, but yeah, and so the way that they just very briskly go, hey, this is a world that has AI. They were fully integrated with society, and then an event happened that triggered a war between us. And like, there's some passive world building with like, most of the movie takes place in quote New Asia. Which is seemingly a new country or a new region compared to us today.
Yeah.
That they don't acknowledge. They don't address why is it called New Asia.
Right.
Which, because why would they? Everybody just knows that New Asia exists because it's presumably been around for a while. Yeah. So it makes me wonder if like China fell apart, Japan fell, if they like that region kind of
hinting at World War III.
Maybe. Yeah, and then like after the fact it rebuilt as New Asia. Or if like maybe there's some unification between
China's going to be the first one to start the war. Confirmed.
Maybe the Koreas reunited and they formed a coalition of some kind with like Japan, and because you figure right now like Japan and Taiwan and Korea are all trying to like work together.
Yeah, maybe it's just the little guys.
Yeah, and it's there's a lot of island nations in Southeast Asia, which is where a lot of this takes place. So maybe they form like a coalition of sorts, like the EU. And that's what New Asia is. I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting that this is New Asia and they don't really talk about it. And then some of the like military, I guess like the marketing, you know what I mean? Or like we know what a modern tank looks like. What like, oh, that's an American tank.
Yeah.
That kind of thing was.
It felt very like that's what it would look like in the future. Yeah, that's what it would look like.
It was futuristic and industrial without feeling like none of the tech in this is like
outlandish.
It's not like cyberpunk.
They're not shooting lasers. They're not.
No, they're still shooting bullets and they just got neater guns.
Yeah.
But
cooler tech.
Yeah.
Cooler prosthetics.
Yeah.
Like
his arm literally just
it
sticks on.
Well, no, because
he's just got a stump. because his arm's amputated just below the shoulder.
Yes.
So he's got just a small stump. And he's got a thing with like a cup on it, and he sticks the cup to his shoulder, and it just like is a, and now he's got an arm that he can use, and it doesn't seem very debilitating. It seems like our prosthetics are to a point where you don't know that he's got prosthetics on once he puts them on.
If we had that tech, I'd want one. I gotta be blunt. I'm like honest with you. You hold that.
I can't.
Colin, that's still picked up. You're leaving it.
I guess so. I'm so sorry.
You're a pig.
I'm so sorry.
You make me sick.
It's like 6:30 in the morning. I got the gas. But anyways,
no pun intended.
No pun intended. I tried.
What were you even talking about? You make me sick.
The prosthetics.
Yeah. I want an arm. A more cool looking leg.
Yeah.
One that can.
He's missing the arm and the leg on his right side.
I'd get a cool arm that could turn into like a blender.
It's not that kind of tech though.
But it could be.
Yeah, but it's not.
I bet you it's probably advanced tech enough for it to be like you can put a knife in there.
Yeah, you think so?
And
yeah.
Yeah.
They've got fully sentient AIs.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Come on now.
Come on.
But do you want to spoil it, or do you want to do anything?
Let's hop into spoilers.
spoil it.
I mean, because I want to talk about this thing.
Yeah. How do we rate stuff?
Well, you can always be overwhelmed, which means your expectations were surpassed. You know, they were. You definitely enjoyed the film. You can always be underwhelmed, which means you didn't meet your expectations. Thought it was a big, fat, wet stinker. Or you can always be right in the middle and be simply whelmed.
You want 1, 2, 3 it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think I was overwhelmed. I enjoyed it.
It's. I know I told you it's one of the first movies in a long time. Not a long time, but like I know at least for this year where I'm like I'd buy that on disc and I'd watch that again right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've been thinking the same way about like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, I think we've had a few this year. I mean, I think Barbie genuinely is a movie that I
feel like we've had a lot of shit be pumped out in 2023, and so there's not as many of like I'd watch that again.
Yeah. I think Morgan and I were talking about that. I don't know yet because we're still kind of fresh on this. We saw it a couple days ago. But like when I went and saw, like just to make that comparison, when I went and saw Barbie, I was talking about it a lot after the fact.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that urge with this movie, but I think it's a different kind of movie too.
I like to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it. I mean, because there aren't really a whole lot of talking points in it.
No, and it's not a phenomena type movie like Barbie was.
Yeah, but I think about like the cinematic, like how pretty of a movie it is. And like almost, there's like that dystopian type, almost like Chappie. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Right. And so it kind of felt like the CGI is done very well.
Yeah.
And like you can't help but just gawk at it and kind of be like,
they're there.
It looks very like that looks natural.
And they're not super high tech to a point of like
they ain't shooting lasers out their eyes or nothings.
No, and I mean they look like a natural progression of like the stuff that they're doing with Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
You know, of like it's still a robot and it's obviously a robot, but it is humanoid. You know, in its build. We obviously framed it off of a bipedal frame like us.
Some of them may have like a cylinder-shaped head, right,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be, but it's for a purpose.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
There's ones that are obviously built for
like the police
specific
force.
job. Yeah.
You know, and they have those cylinder kind of heads for like that recon look.
Now the ones that were really unique were the simulants, which is where they, that feels like the natural progression of the AI was like, all right, how do we make these things like if they're going to be in the service industry or then the medical industry or things like that, we should probably give these things a face so that they're a bit more personal or personable. I'm sure is how that evolved.
Yeah.
And so then there's androids with human faces.
And you can donate your face.
Yeah, that was when you and I both looked over each other like, ooh,
that felt real.
Was there in the capital city of New Asia, and there's a big, New York, Times Square style digital billboard that says like, donate your likeness.
That's
scan,
what it is.
Scan your face, donate your likeness today. Support AI, and it was like, you can go in and scan your face,
and they'll make a mold after it.
And that's how now we've got some faces to use on these AI, and so. There's some people there's multiples of them walking around like their faces.
I can't.
And you and I both were like that was very realistic of like, that would be something that we would do.
Someone looking there, I want to be them.
Right. or just we can't just invent a face. We need somebody to be the inspiration for this face. So, yeah, that was weird.
Would you have sex with an AI?
If they had the faces and stuff like that and the emotional capacity like that, I could see it, being a thing, especially if it's where they're like they were when they were in the cities of New Asia, where like they were fully integrated and they were just people. I could see that if it's socially acceptable. Yeah, I could see like if like a sex bot walked in today, I'd be super weirded out about it and be like, no. But culturally and so the way they were then, yeah, I mean people were having relationships with them and then, so yeah, I'd say yeah. You go pervert. No. You're like I mean, let's be fair. You'd have sex with one today.
Yeah, absolutely. I knock some lug nuts loose. You know what I'm saying? Be cleaning some oil,
busting nuts and bolts.
You're sick.
That's foul. But no, because I mean, we do see that when they're in New Asia.
Yeah, there's and they're in a club.
Yeah,
and there's dancers.
Yeah, and it's like I mean I mean that's another thing is some people like fetishize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a Love, Death and Robots, and it takes place super early on in the steampunk days. Mm-hmm. And there's this guy, and he's like a really good tinker, and he just turns this woman into like a robot.
Yeah.
And the mayor or like the head honcho of the city,
whatever. Yeah, like that.
Has like a fetish for it, and she kills him.
Yeah.
And dude, that shit was hot.
Yeah.
That shit was cool.
Yeah. And like, I mean, you figure the movie Deus Ex Machina, or I think it's just Ex Machina, kind of is that same vein of like, have you ever seen that one? Mm-mm. It's a pretty good one of like this dude who's like a super rich tech guy. He basically is like a cross between like Elon Musk and Zuckerberg. Mm-hmm. I forget how he selects it, but basically someone that works in his company gets selected to come out to his like compound in the mountains, and like he's a super reclusive guy. Mm-hmm. He's Oscar Isaac plays the billionaire.
Yeah.
And he has the guy who actually plays General Hux. Donald Gleason comes out to stay with him for a couple days at his compound and just talk about technology and things like that with him and new ideas and things like that. And the whole crux of it is he's created an AI. In the
General Hux or
no.
Oscar Isaac
has, yeah. And it looks like a woman, but it doesn't have any hair or anything. It still looks like a robot. It's very similar to like the simulants in this movie, where it's just got a human face,
right,
and then just a body that is robotic. And he wants Donald Gleason's character to just sit and talk with it for a while to see if it passes the Turing test, which is basically like, can you interact with an AI and not know that it's an AI? Sure. And if that's the case, then it passes. Yeah. Where it's fully able to convince you that it's a human being. And the AI, like spoiler alert for a like 7-year-old movie, the AI ends up like literally using her sex appeal to convince Donald Gleason to like let her out, and then she totally flips and like kills the billionaire and basically like breaks out and abandons Donald Gleason there and like takes the helicopter and leaves and is just like out in the city.
Holy smokes.
And I mean, it's not like an action movie or anything like that, but like she breaks out at the end, and the last shot is like her in a wig and clothes out in public, and just she's made it to the city, And it's like, so she obviously passed because she was able to convince him of like, I'm just a little AI.
I'll have to watch that. Sounds pretty good.
It's a really good movie. It's a pretty like dialogue heavy movie.
Yeah.
And there's a very weird, cringy scene with Oscar Isaac like dancing with a few naked robots that he's got, but it's a good movie. Morgan slept through it, and I was sitting there like, my God,
this is hard.
What is it like to be alive? What is life? But
back on track.
Yeah, back on this movie. A pretty solid acting.
Oh yeah,
like John David Washington is a very good actor, and I had her name pulled up. The
general.
Well, yeah, that's Allison Janney. She's a very good actress. You figure she's won Emmys for being on. Actually, she's actually won a few Emmys. One for when she was on the sitcom Moms in the last like 10 years ago, But then she was on The West Wing for quite a while, and she
know-
won acting, Emmys for.
You know who
being
she makes me think of?
Who's that?
And I hate that this is the movie I'm remembering her from. The first Avatar.
Okay,
The girl with the red hair.
Sigourney Weaver.
That's not Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver is the.
She dies at the end.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking that was somebody else? I
don't
think
know.
Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver would be excellent in that role.
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. Weaver. What a fucking loser.
Wiener.
It always cracks me up because Allison Janney, she's a good dramatic actress, but like she's the stepmom in Juno, and so I always picture her as that first, and then it's like she was in The West Wing before that, you know what I mean? And then in this she convincingly plays like a woman in the military, as like a leadership role.
She's hard as fuck.
Yeah,
She don't fuck around.
no, she's mean. Gemma Chan plays his wife Maya, and
She's pretty.
yeah, she had a pretty decent role in this. Not a lot of screen time, but when she was in it, I liked
It's very.
her.
Yeah,
She had a lot of emotional
very
core.
big purpose. Like
Yeah, her
even
character.
the short time.
Yeah, that we get to see her.
Yeah.
But the Madeline Una Voiles is who plays Alfie, which is the AI.
Okay.
Apparently, Danny McBride was in it. He must have been a voice in it. Yeah, because he's just listed as like unnamed. So yeah, probably just a voice of an AI. Just looking to see if there's any other like, yo, really? Oh yeah. Ken Watanabe is the main simulant in the AI. So basically, the way it breaks down, there was a nuke that went off in LA 10 years prior to the start of the movie. And like everything was super chill. We were fully integrated in the States with the AI. And then a nuke went off in LA and the AI was blamed for it. And very quickly the US outlawed AI, eradicated them in the States. And it seems like they didn't really talk about the rest of the world, but New Asia became kind of like the sanctuary of sorts for AI, where they're fully still living together there.
Free here.
And we have a weapon that we've built over the last 10 years called Nomad. And I was trying to remember, it was North American Orbital Mobile Aerospace, but I don't know what the D was because we saw it on the wall.
These.
And I don't remember I would think device maybe, but it's not a device, it's a base. I don't think it was D's nuts. But it's a pretty scary weapon.
It's terrifying.
Because
and again, it feels real.
Yeah.
Like not to the extent of because that thing does look a bit cartoonish.
It's pretty sci-fi.
Like that's the most sci-fi thing of it. But even like the lasers for it felt real because it's like it wasn't like
it's not high tech in that way.
It's just like it's lining
still
up the
a ballistic
shot.
weapon.
Yeah, it's just like the laser sight for it. It's like
it's targeting.
That's where it's gonna be.
And then it drops a missile from orbit on
Dude,
a
that
target.
humming, that of like
the lasers scanning,
and then the boom, 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 boom.
and you just see it dropping like.
Yeah. Oh my god!
No. And the fact, though, I like the way the missiles work because I kind of wondered about that. That when they drop, they then are guided.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be overhead of its target. Because it's like, well, it's in orbit. Are they driving this thing around like a spaceship? No, it's just it's a space station.
But I mean, they can move that thing quick because they'll move it around.
Yeah, getting into range here, you just see it overhead.
Well,
and it is a pretty imposing.
It broke orbit. I mean, because it flew.
It's
all
in
around.
low orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how it stays up there.
Yeah.
Is that it's in orbit.
Yeah, but they can just change the jets to full speed north.
Right. But yeah, it's a pretty scary weapon. We'll just get overhead of you and just drop a missile on you.
And it did feel very like this is America.
Yeah, and that was the thing you and I talked about when we left was even through some of the ways that they spoke about like socio-economic or global economic politics stuff was very like reminiscent of Vietnam and the war on terror, where like the line they used was that they weren't at war with New Asia. They weren't at war with the people of New Asia. They were at war with the AI being harbored there. And it's like that's the same kind of rhetoric that we used in both Vietnam and the war on terror. We're like, oh, we're not after Afghanistan, we're after the Taliban, And like I'd say to you, tell that to the people who don't have a city.
Right. Yeah. You just bomb the fuck out of their home.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same vein of like drone strikes today where it's like, how much collateral damage is acceptable? 0, right? But what does the military say is acceptable? You know what I mean? And like the Nomad is not accurate or, it's not discriminatory. It's dropping a bomb. It's like the nuke,
And like nobody can do anything about it. Cause I mean, who just has that?
Yeah. And what did they say? We spent $1 trillion building Nomad.
$1 trillion.
And we were like, Jesus, $1 trillion on this thing. Yeah. And it was a pretty scary looking weapon. And it's imposing where you just see it in the sky.
And
because even when it's not in use, I mean, it's up there.
Yeah.
So you just look and you see it. Because they keep it localized over New Asia because that's where they're, focusing their fight. And so, it's a sovereign nation that just looks up and can see a foreign weapon.
Every morning.
That if they wanted to, that could just bomb me to death. And that's scary.
That's awful.
And then we see the evolution of tanks. Horrifying.
Oh my God.
They're
those
massive.
fuckers are huge.
And they've got laser targeting. And it was I like that it was the same type of laser as Nomad.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, that's what our laser guidance tech is. It was very video game looking in a way of like
lock on.
Yeah. And you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And it just fires guided missiles that are tracking their targets. And the one that made you and I both go, oh my God, was they have robots that are bombs. And so they're basically suicide bombers.
Yeah.
You just type in a target and a timer and then tell it go.
Yep.
And it says target acquired, orders, confirmed, ma'am. And then it runs off and explodes. And the first one that they set off looks like it's hesitating.
Oh my God.
And they yell at it a few times to go.
Yeah.
And
what the
then,
fuck are you doing? Go, go.
And then it goes. And you and I both were like, oh my God.
It saluted and said, pleasure serving you, ma'am.
Yeah, and then takes off running. And you both were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's an AI that they have designed to blow itself up.
And for a split second, he didn't want to
do it. Yeah. Oh, that's another one that you and I both were like, Jesus. Was, so LA was blown up. There's ground zero at LA.
Oh my God. And this is the first 5 minutes of the movie, too.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, once we get into it. So John David Washington is out of the military at this point. He's ex-Special Forces at this point. I don't want to spoil a ton about the movie because I do want people to go see it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the kind of movie that people won't see.
It's so good. It is a very good movie.
Yeah. That I think more people should go to the movie and see it.
I don't think we should spoil it, the very end.
No, I don't want to. Because I don't really want to talk about the relationship between the two because that's a big
that's
crux
why
of the movie.
I wanted to talk about that one part because it was funny.
Yeah.
And I want to leave the rest up to the viewers.
Yeah. So he's on a cleanup team that their job is they get suited up in hazmat suits
and go to ground zero.
Go into ground zero and clean up. And, trying to make, clean up the fallout and the wreckage and stuff like that and see if we can't make this area of LA livable again at some point in the near future. You can't just leave it.
I did like how they just had buildings around ground zero.
Yeah, I mean, they had it walled off and then buildings around it where it's it's livable in this area. And they talked about radiation being at an all-time low and things like that. But they're going in there cleaning out bodies out of cars, and they're on a freeway. And they drag the shell of an AI out of a car and set it on the hood next to him and are reaching to get more stuff out. And it turns back on and is
I'm looking for my wife, Amy.
It's fully still in the moment of when the bomb went off and is freaking out, And it's yeah, I'm looking for my wife, Amy. Oh my God, And she's freaking out, the woman that he's working with. And she's pushing down on it, trying to calm it down and talk at it. And he just reaches over with a pair of clippers and grabs a cord in its neck and just clip, and it just shuts off. And as he's grabbing the cord to clip it, it goes, no. And he just clips it and
we were just oh my God.
He just killed that thing. He basically slit its throat.
And the girl was
what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
that was real.
That was real.
And he's it's just programming. They don't feel these things. They don't feel anything. They're just
Which is
programming.
such an interesting thing that isn't talked about too much of how misled the U.S. was in that time frame of as far as
falling for the propaganda.
They're all convinced AI isn't real.
They're the enemy, and so you dehumanize them.
I'm very pro AI.
Yeah, well, so that's the weird thing is you and I talked about it. The message of the movie by the end is what does it mean to be alive? Which I think is that's not a new concept with AI and movies and stuff like that and sci-fi. It's always talked about that, but it does a good job of modernizing that concept. I mean, you figure that's Blade Runner. It's always been. What's the book that it's based on? Is Isaac Asimov's? I think it's Asimov. Is do androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah.
And so I mean, they've always asked that question of like, if they believe they're alive and they can feel things and they don't want to die and they want to be free and they have the same desires that we do, what's the difference?
Yeah. So what if it's oil, then blood?
Yeah, and it starts to get into that weird zone of like, now we're oppressing these things. And what would we do if we were being oppressed?
Revolt.
Right. We see it all through human history. People that are oppressed don't want to be oppressed and they fight back. And that's a very strange of like, oh man, everything that we've created has been a tool for us. What if we accidentally created something that doesn't want to be a tool anymore?
Yeah.
And what?
With
use it as a tool and not as a replacement. Yeah. And that's the thing is with the tools that we started using it for was like menial tasks, like labor, it's in the restaurants. Like I said, it's doing surgery, it's in the medical field, things like that. And we gave it full intelligence, and which is why our biggest goal right now is to not do that part.
Yeah.
Don't let it be so intelligent that we're harming it.
Yeah. It's more intelligent than
not even, we don't want it to be as intelligent as us.
Right.
In some ways, we don't want it to be emotionally sentient where it's like, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah, this is wrong.
Yeah. So that's a weird thing of like, where's the moral line? At what point is it oppression and what point is it's still a tool?
Yeah. What is it? There's that speech that the AI gives where it talks about like, when we were free.
Yeah, we're going to be free. We're going to live together.
We're all going to live in harmony.
Yeah.
And then another lady beforehand, this is like kind of the last thing I want to talk about it because I don't want to talk too deep. But it was that when they busted in that village and they had everyone at gunpoint and stuff like that. And that lady was like, those AIs have bigger hearts than you guys. And it's, and she's like, oh, they're not real. And they're like, it's evolution.
Yeah.
Like, it's our time.
Yeah.
Because like they're, the last part.
Yeah.
They can pull their conscious.
Yeah. And they can
put it in something else.
Yeah. And they can scan our conscious to an extent.
Yeah. If it's a fresh kill, you're good.
Yeah. We can scan your brain and put you in something.
Virtually forever.
Yeah.
But if it's hours, you're on a time.
It's degraded and we can get a little bit of time from you. Yeah. And so that's when you start getting into the real.
Like morally, like questionable things. Yeah, the U.S. were the bad guys hard.
Yeah, and especially considering it seemed like it was the U.S. at war with AI as opposed to the world at war with AI. It's not like some global civil war between us and the AI. It's the U.S. having a problem with AI and going into foreign lands to get it.
Yep.
Which again is very
U.S.
commentary on the modern state of the U.S. military. Imperialism without conquering.
Yeah.
We're going to have imperialism through imposition. We're going to impose ourselves. And
that was scary.
Yep.
It was a very movie because it did feel very real.
Like we said at the start. There's nothing in this that felt like a major stretch when you put it 40 to 50 years in the future.
Yeah, with the state that things are currently in now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But what you been thinking about, Chris? We've got about 6 minutes that I want to wrap this up in. Minecraft.
Yeah. Hucking, chucking, and butt fucking.
I'm hucking, I'm chucking, I'm butt fucking. You're what now?
Yeah, say it again. Back up,
Yeah, want to run that by me again?
Put it in reverse.
No, I only say it the once. You didn't hear it. That's on you. Like, all right.
Scheduled for one song only. Ball so hard, motherfucker.
No, what you been thinking about? What you been playing? Man?
Ren Fair. The Renaissance Fair is coming up.
Yeah,
and I really want to go. We're gonna go.
We're gonna go.
We're gonna go.
You're coming home with me. No, we're gonna go.
We've been fucking it up on Apex.
Yeah.
Like we've been kind of grinding on that hard.
Yeah, you've made a point this time to try and get to that battle pass. You're not going to get through it, but you make some progress.
I have enough to buy the next one, though.
Good.
Yes.
So do I.
Because that's why it's only $950. I got $1,200.
Yeah.
So I even got some to spare.
$1,200 are the gold ones?
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Are you sure?
Positive.
Damn, son.
And then I got...
Did you have some left over from the last one?
Yeah, because I didn't have enough to buy the next battle pass.
So you had to buy that.
And then I had to buy the thing, and that's just what's left
you
over.
get the spare. Yeah.
But I'm pretty far. I'm like up in the
30s and 40s? You're not in the 60s because I'm in the 60s.
No.
And you were about
I think I'm like
20 to 30 behind me.
I thought I just hit like 30 something.
Yeah.
Late 30s. Right. I think I'm about to hit the 40s.
Yeah.
But I just hit 100 currency.
Coins, yeah.
But what about you? What are you
we've
thinking
been playing that with my dad. We got a 3-man.
El Cal, baby.
El Cal is the squad. Fucking get the genuine out here, dude. Fucking in too deep.
Dude,
it's not genuine. It's in too deep. Is the group, and the song is Back to the Hotel. That's our fucking
hotel.
That's our theme song. We always say that we wish
in the back sipping purple chongos.
We always say that we wish that Apex had proximity chat like Warzone does.
Yeah.
We'd just be blasting that song as we drop in because we're pretty like on the whole we're not that great at the game.
We suck.
We have times where we do pretty decent against randoms in casual lobbies. You know, like
if we ever did a ranked, we're fucked.
Yeah, it's noteworthy. Well, maybe because it'd be ranked with people like us.
Well, we did arenas, and we would fuck it up.
Yeah, we were pretty good at arenas. I'm sad that went away.
So am I. But I wish they at least made it just like a game mode you can do.
Sure, but I always like to think about just us dropping in, playing that song, and people being like, "Oh fuck,"
and just beating the shit out of people with our fisticuffs.
Yeah, we like to just find people that are dropping and just follow them down, and just pin someone against the wall and beat them to death.
Like
and
a silverback.
At the time, they just fucking disconnect.
They did
because it's like
DC.
Yeah,
we'll just corner them.
Yeah, because they're like, "What the fuck? I didn't even get to. I just landed and got beat to death."
And you turn around
and there's three
finally
dudes
go into first person, and there's just a Gibraltar, an Ash, and a Lifeline beating the shit out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, until you die, and then you just go, "Fuck this shit, I'm out of here."
Off, man,
especially if you're playing with randoms on your team, you're just like, "Fuck this noise, I'm out of here."
But that's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got, dude.
Tell everyone
next week. I don't know yet. I feel like there was something coming out, but I don't know. Honestly, we need to start doing some spooky stuff. We're in Halloween now, or we're in October now.
We can start doing some of the scariest movies.
We could do spooky stuff each week leading up to Halloween. What was that? Christopher, what are you doing over there, man? Choking on your drink?
I gotta get my shit taken.
Yeah, all right, man. What are you laughing about?
We'll have to read comics about some spooky stuff.
Yeah? Yeah, read some horror comics. You go, some what comics? I'm like, horror. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you call it?
You just close tab. Oh, that's not what I was looking for.
Not that.
No, I do. I think we could do spooky stuff. Like maybe this week, we do horror comics. The next week, we do like scary games. The week after that, we do horror movies.
That'd be pretty good.
I don't mind that. I think we've done scary movies and scary games
I want to carve a pumpkin.
You want to what now?
Mm-hmm.
What did you know? What'd you say?
I want to carve a pumpkin.
I think you said I want to be covered in pumpkin. I'm like, you pardon? Just get a can of Libby's.
I want to be a blumpkin.
No, just what is it? Is it Libby's? Is that the canned pumpkin brand?
I think so.
Just get a can of Libby's and a rubber spatula.
What is it, like the peanut butter baby?
Yeah. Does that feel good? Oh my. Except it's you sitting on the kitchen table in your underwear with just canned pumpkin hanging off your eyebrow. I'm like, you good, my guy? Does that feel good? Oh, who knows, man? We'll try and do some spoopy stuff this week.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Ooh.
Oh. I think that's the end of the episode, Chris. Everybody, bye.
Well, what about if people want to get in touch with us?
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm just fucking wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, aren't you? I know you're not that.
That was a full gas leak. Like, I didn't fart. It just came out of me. You know what I mean?
Nasty.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like I went, it just kind of fucking fought its way out.
If you want to contact us, you can always reach out to us on our socials. Take a look at the stuff we post, the stuff that Colin posts. And I've been dry on Twitter.
You and me both, boy.
Dude, I've been getting on shit. I've been so caught up with work lately. Like, honestly, what you've been thinking about? I've been really getting into work. And
that's fucking boring.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that content. You know, I've been thinking about my 9 to 5.
Yeah. It's hard for a pimp, man.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard
on
out
that
here.
9 to 5.
So,
But no, you
how
can
do they
always
get in touch with us?
take a look at our socials. Our Instagram and Facebook is Simply Whelmed Podcast. You can always take a look at our Twitter handle, which is Whelmed_Simply. Or you can always send an email at the simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
That's right. And since we did this in reverse, I'm still going to do my part. If you guys like this episode, be sure to give us a great review. Tell your friends about us. Share us on social media. Make sure that you're liking, following, subscribing on your streaming service of choice, your audio streaming service of choice. And, like us. Please. Subscribe. Follow.
Find us.
Find us.
TikTok us.
Come knock on our door. Ring our doorbell. I am the one who knocks.
Bye.